Hello, everybody. Welcome to GDC 2014. My name is Matthew Russell. I'm lead animator on Fortnite at Epic.
My name is Jeremy Ernst. I'm the lead technical animator at Epic Games.
And we are here to talk to you about Unreal 4. So yesterday we kind of made an announcement. People seem to dig it. We're really happy with all of the things. We've been working on Unreal 4 for a while, making a tool set that is, I mean, for lack of a better terms, it's just absolutely amazing. We enjoy it, and we want to share it with all of the people. So today we're going to start running you through some of the stuff, the new things with the editor, content, what this means to not just a power user, but to anybody who wants to get their hands on something that is going to empower them to make all of the really cool things.
Yep. Yeah, so in terms of what we actually offer is we offer the Unreal Engine 4. It's $19 a month subscription. With that, you get the full source code on GitHub. You can deploy to iOS, Android, Mac, and PC. Mm-hmm. If you look in the source code, you can see some of our early efforts for Oculus VR. You can see our Linux dedicated server work. Yep. What else do we have on there?
It's Oculus, Linux.
HTML5.
Yes.
And then we also obviously support the next-gen consoles. But you'll have to get in touch with us to do a console license. So yeah, let's take a look at the new Unreal Engine 4 launcher. When you go to unrealengine.com and you sign up for your subscription, you'll be able to download the Unreal Engine launcher. So if we take a look at the screen here, what we get is we've got our welcome message from our awesome CEO. We've got getting started with Unreal, how to get the source code, all of our community access, as well as all of our documentation access. And something we're really excited about is the marketplace. The marketplace right now is free content provided by Epic that you can feel free to download. It has, we have sample games. We've got some really pretty things to look at.
We got all of the pretty things.
Yeah, all the pretty things.
So the great thing about a lot of this content is this is yours with your subscription. You subscribe, you get it, you download it. This isn't, you have, like Zach Parrish has done absolutely amazing job doing tutorials for all of the stuff, and they're wonderful. Like, I'm not a technical person, and sitting down and going through all of the tutorials, like, I've learned an amazing amount in a really short amount of time. But yeah, the great thing about the content itself, with the game templates, all of the assets, those are yours. So you can take those game templates and basically stand on the backs of people who've done a whole bunch of hard work for you, and we have a side scroller. We have a
third person.
Yeah, yep. Third person. We have first person. We have
top down.
Top down. We have what's the RTS?
Yeah, the strategy game.
We got this. We have a strategy game, and all of the content that's in that is yours. Yep. Like, you take it and do with it what you want. You can swap out for your own assets. You can play with it. You can mod it. You can do all the things, and we want you to. We want to see what kind of incredibly ridiculous stuff people can take with this and make.
Yeah, one of the things we're excited about with the marketplace too is that, I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but we definitely want to open it up to our community for them to put things up on the marketplace to buy and sell. So let's actually go ahead and launch the engine. And I want to take a look at some of those templates you were talking about.
Yep.
So if we go to new project, if you're familiar with UDK, if you've used it in the past, you know that creating a new project usually required some advanced coding. Now we actually have a bunch of templates in here. So, and we'll get into Blueprint later, but we've got our first person template, our third person template, the side scroller, the top down. I'm going to go ahead and choose the Blueprint first person and create my project. And this is awesome. You'll see what this actually gets you right off the bat. If we just go ahead and play, we'll go over the UI here in a second, but just playing after we get
so just real quick, for people who aren't necessarily familiar, all you did was just go up and hit play. Like,
right, yeah, we're playing real time right now. It's play in editor.
Yeah, we call it Pi. So yeah, it's play in editor, and you basically jump in out of edit mode directly into seeing what you're doing in game.
Yeah, so this is exactly what you'll be getting when you build your game. So the first person template gets you all the character movement, physics objects with your projectiles, it gets you jump and sprint. It's pretty awesome. And we'll talk about blueprints here in a little bit. But let's talk about the new content browser. We're also going to go over just creating a quick kind of a sample level. So I'm going to go to new level, do default. So when you open up the Unreal Engine 4, you'll notice, if you're familiar with Unreal Engine 3, that our UI is really, really slick now. We've made it a lot more accessible to the users. We have our content browser here on the left. This is where you're going to basically grab all the content to put in your levels. This is also where you import your content as well. The details panel on the right is where you can get information about whatever you have selected, like where it is in the world, what material it has selected, or any other pertinent details. We have our outliner, very similar to Maya's outliner. And then we have our modes over here where you can create things, you can do your terrain, your painting, your foliage, all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and get just a simple level going. In terms of creating, this is super easy. We just drag in what we want. So I'm going to drag in a box.
Bam, you just made a floor.
I did. And go ahead and give it some dimensions. And I'll just place it over here. I can just hold down Alt and drag off to make a copy. And let's go ahead and throw materials on this real quick. So let's go ahead and get a, the wood floor looks kind of nice. Oh, actually I'll do this one. Yeah, that looks pretty slick. And that's cool, but you know what I'd like to do is maybe get some angle to this. So I rotated the material 45 degrees, but you'll notice that it doesn't quite tile right, but that's no problem. We can just go down to alignment and do a surface planar, hit our 45, and now we have perfect tiling wood floor. Looks pretty awesome.
I want it to look like that in my house.
Yeah, no kidding. Dragging in a light is as simple as just grabbing it from the modes panel over here, dragging it in. We can set our properties for that light in the details panel. Things like the light color. And again, we can just drag and drop, alt drag to give ourselves duplicates. Let's get some actual like props in here. So I'm going to make like a little office space so I can drag a chair in. This is all starter content that comes with Unreal Engine 4. So all this content, like Matt was saying, is available to you to start getting into your levels.
And content, like, there's a ton of stuff that's coming automatically. Like, you go to the website, you subscribe, you download UE4, and there's already an amazing amount of stuff that's already there. But there is going to be just a continuously wonderful stream of new content coming. You know, this is a living thing. You're going to always have access to all of the cool stuff. Yeah,
I mean, part of the idea behind the subscription model is that it incentivizes us at Epic to make sure that we continue pumping out good content and good engine updates for the subscribers. All right, so I got a table and some chairs in here. Let's go back and get some walls in. So let's see, I'll do...
Oh, and just like, this is all content that's already in. Your own content, like if you're doing any kind of custom mesh, any kind of custom anything, the process of getting your own content is ridiculously easy.
Oh, it's super easy,
Like it is super easy. Like I said, I'm not a technical person. I've gotten stuff into the engine. And it looks great, is handled beautifully.
Oh, and if you're also, if you've used Unreal Engine 3 in the past, you know that our viewport controls are very unique to Unreal Engine 3. In Unreal Engine 4, we've actually, there's many, many ways to get around the viewports in the editors. If you're familiar with Maya's controls, you can actually, those are exactly the same in Unreal Engine 4. And there's other ways to control around the viewport as well. So I'm just going to place a wall. And again, I'll just alt drag off. And let's get some materials on this guy. How about we do, let's do some cool brick. Nice and tiling. And then I want to show some other cool features. Obviously, we're just using BSP here, but I want to make a window. So
I think you should.
Yeah, it's actually super, super easy. We just set our BSP brush to subtractive, and as we push it back into the wall, we cut out our window.
Bam.
That's it. Let's go ahead and get our brick material on these surfaces as well. And then we actually have some meshes. We can get our window glass panel in here. Get that lined up. And of course we can use different orthogonal views to place our meshes. Doop, doop. Awesome. And let's go to the front. Perfect, that looks awesome. And what we'll show here in a minute is what our level is actually going to start looking like once we get the lighting built. Now the lighting is a good preview in here in real time. As we move these properties around or as we move a light around, you can see that we get updates real time. You don't have to rebuild lighting. And if you've used BSP in the past, you'll notice we don't actually have to build our BSP. It's all real time. So that's kind of cool. We got that. Let's get I'm going to get some trim in here. So I'm going to go down to -90. As you can see, it's super, super fast to just get something going. And I mean, I am not a level designer. I do not do this at all for a living. And I literally learned it this weekend, like Matt was saying, from Zach's tutorials. And it was just super, super easy. Again, I'll dupe this off.
It's like my kids came in while I was working with UE4 over the weekend. They were like, "What you doing?" I'm like,
Playing?
I'm doing all the stuff. They actually sat down with me and were like directing me, like, "Oh, you should put this here. Make a window there.
Yeah.
Put this light over there."
And of course, we have grid snapping and stuff, so you can turn that off if you're trying to get really fine detail placement.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go ahead and build our lighting. Let's see what this looks like. This will just take a second. Yes. It's looking pretty good.
Maybe come over to my house and do some stuff.
Let's go ahead and put this trim up here as well, so we can get some nice shadows. And now I want to actually show what I think is one of the most powerful features in Unreal Engine 4. And we'll go deeper into this, but this is Blueprint. So normally, if I'd want to place like a wall sconce on this wall, I could simply drag this in.
Just for those of you who are familiar with like Unreal 3, Unreal 3 had Kismet.
Right.
And Kismet is an incredibly powerful tool set. But one of the things with Kismet is it was very level specific.
Yeah, it was level scripting.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you did stuff with Kismet, if you wanted to propagate that into another level, you could do it, but there was a lot of copying and pasting of nodes and all of that stuff.
And you really couldn't make a full game with Kismet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so with Blueprint is it is ridiculously powerful. It's a visual scripting language, and with it, you can do things very similar to Kismet, where it's you can have an entire level blueprint, but like what Jeremy's about to like blow my mind with is you can have class blueprints as well. Yep. And a class blueprint is one of the single most powerful things that I think you guys are going to experience in any of the dealings with Unreal 4.
Yeah, that's right. So in Unreal Engine 3, we had C++, we had Unreal Script, which was mostly what the game code was written with, and then we had Kismet. But it was pretty much impossible as a one-man army to make a whole game yourself if you were not a programmer or if you weren't an artist. You had to be kind of both. With Blueprint, though, you can definitely be an artist or designer and make an entire game by yourself. No need for a programmer, although they are awesome.
Oh yeah, but it's like unicorns. And
yeah, they're hard to find.
They're hard to find, and they have all of the things on their schedule. So any opportunity that you get to empower your artists to be able to create content, to get things in, to gray box, to go all the way from gray box development all the way to a finished game without ever necessarily having to touch a line of C++ is amazing. And,
yeah, I mean, it's empowered us internally on our Fortnite project. We've done some amazing things with blueprints. I mean, like I'd say most of the really cool stuff is done in Blueprint.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So usually, going back to the wall sconce example, if I wanted to place this light and I wanted it to actually emit light, I'd have to place the mesh, I'd have to place the light, and then if I wanted a series of these, I would have to keep copy and pasting this, which would take a lot of time. Now in UE3 we had the idea of a prefab. Well, Blueprints, you can actually kind of bundle in level scripting, prefabs, all of this into one package. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete the light that I've created. I'm going to right click in our content browser, and I'm going to go to Blueprint, And here we can choose which class the blueprint's going to inherit from. So I want to make it be an actor class because I want it to be an item I place in the world. Let's go ahead and rename that guy. So I'm going to call this, I'll call it wall light. And as you notice, one of the new things in the editor is every time you open up a new window that you haven't opened up before, we have these awesome tutorials that go over the interface. Our documentation's really awesome and really complete.
Really good stuff.
So here you could actually go through and look at what all the little UI elements mean here. But I'll go over that in a minute. So when we open up a class blueprint like this, the first thing you'll notice is we get a viewport with nothing in it. Oh, this is our component editor. This is where we can add, this is essentially where you can make your prefab. So here, I want to add a static mesh. And I'll go down to our properties here and just type in lamp. And we got our wall lamp. So if we zoom in, there's our static mesh. From here, we can actually do things like we could scale it up. Let's go ahead and add our light. So we can add our point light. And just like in the editor viewport, here you can, all those detail panels are right here, so you can go ahead and change your light color and your intensity. So let's go ahead and compile this. I'm going to select it and just drag it into my level.
And at this point, it's its own asset. So there's not putting together any additional things. All of the work, like any kind of adjustments, you can actually make here in your level, but a ton of stuff you just go back into your blueprint asset and start adding. You can add your trigger volumes.
Yeah, we're going to get into that
all
for
of
sure.
the good stuff.
So let's open up our blueprint. You know, our light's a little bit strong here. So we can do a couple things. We can go back to components, go to our light, and change our intensity down. Let's do 5,000. And we get real time, so as soon as we compile, we get the update real time, which is pretty awesome. All right, cool. Well, let's do some more interesting things. Let's go to the graph. Now this, if you're used to Kismet, you'll be used to this view, except what we have now, we have two graphs. We have the event graph, which is essentially the level scripting aspect. When I hit a trigger volume, the light turns on. Or we have the construction script, and the construction script is used for when you're designing the level. So one of the things I want to touch on first is we have this cool blueprint. It's very, very simple, but I want to be able to change the light color per instance of this blueprint. Well, that's not a problem. All we have to do, we have access to our light right here because that's in our components. We can just drag this in, get access to it, drag off of our blueprint, or drag off of our point light node, and let's type in color.
Well, just real quick, this is one of the things I absolutely love when I was messing with it and going through Zag's tutorials, is everything is very context specific. So when you're dragging off of it, it's going to drop exactly like what we've got on the screen. It's going to drop the menu, and all it's going to list are the things that you can do. And then you can go through, like with what Jeremy's doing, and you can start filtering out. So
you don't have to know the function names.
Yeah,
I can just say, I want to change the color of the light.
I'm
going to type in color,
color,
and then I can look and say, oh, okay, we have set light color. That sounds exactly like what I want. And here, it's asking for a new light color. What we can do that's really awesome is we can actually promote this to a variable. And we can name this light color. And then we can actually make this editable. So what editable will do is it will actually show up. So let's actually plug in our construction script here. So go ahead and do that, compile. And now, if you look under the default category here in our details panel, we have light color. That's the variable that we created, just so that we can make that super clear. I'm going to go ahead and change the name to just be color. Let's go ahead and compile. And we can give this a default value too, so we can make it be that kind of warmish yellow that we originally had. And now if you look over here, it's set to color. What's cool about that is I can alt drag to make our copy. And because I've exposed this, I can now go in here and make this one its own unique color, which is pretty awesome. But any variables I haven't exposed back in components, like intensity, those will be changed globally when I change them on the component side. What's pretty cool about that is we can expose whatever variables we want. We can expose visibility, intensity, or whatever. So let's go and do some more complicated stuff here. Back in components, I want to make it so that as we get close to the light, it turns on and off. So what we can do is we can add a box component. And here we go. We'll scale this up. That looks good. And when we go back to our graph, in our event graph, everything that we've created in our components is right here on the right, or on the left under variables. Uh-oh.
The mouse.
The mouse.
The mouse of doom.
All right. So if we select our box, which is our trigger volume. Oh boy.
Sorry guys, we were having some trouble with our wireless mouse earlier, and every now and then it's giving us just a little bit of a hiccup. So if you see some stuttering, I promise it's not because we're hungover from last night.
So what I did is I selected the box and I added an event for that box that says whenever my character overlaps that box, whenever he's entered the box, I want to do something. And again, this is really simple. I don't need to know what the name of the functions are. I can just say, I want to turn on my light, or I want to turn on or off the light. So again, I'll get access to my light, and I'll say, I'm just going to type in visibility, and we have a toggle visibility node. That sounds exactly like what I want. And all we have to do here is plug that in, compile, and now if I go hit play, as I approach the volume, I'm toggling the visibility. But we can do cooler stuff than that. So let's select our box again. And what I want it to be is every time I step in and out of the box, it toggles. So let's go ahead and let's select our box, do an add event, and we'll say end overlap, which means that if I leave the box volume, I'm also going to toggle the visibility. So we can compile.
And you're dropping both of those into the exact same thing.
Right, yeah. So I mean, I've only gotten access to the point light, and I've said I just want to toggle the visibility, and when I'm in the box, toggle the visibility, whatever its current state is, and when I leave the box, toggle it again. Let's go ahead and hit play. So I get close, it turns off, I leave the box, it turns back on. That's pretty cool, but maybe not super useful, so let's go a little bit crazier so we can...
I thought that was pretty useful.
Let's go a little bit crazier so we can really show the power of blueprints. So I want to add an event to where if I hit my F key on the keyboard, I have to go up to the light, hit F, and it will turn the light on. So I'll just search for F, and here I have key events. So I can drop in key, and I can say when F is pressed, I want to toggle the visibility. I'm going to alt-click on these wires to break them. And I'll show, you know what I haven't showed yet is the blueprint debugging, and I definitely need to show that.
Oh yeah, no,
that's
awesome.
really, really cool. So here, I'm just saying when F is pressed, toggle the visibility. If I were to leave it like this, anytime I press F, regardless of whether or not I'm near the light, it's going to turn it on or off. But that's not really what I want. What I want is, when I'm only in that volume, to be able to hit F and turn on the light. So what I can do here is just look for input, and I'm going to do enable input. So when I'm in the volume, I'm going to enable the input. When I'm out of the volume, I'll just search for input again. When I'm out of the volume, I'm just going to disable input.
And once again, it's context, it's context sensitive.
Right.
So the moment that you drag off there, it's only going to list the functions, it's only going to give you the functions that you have access to, that you'll be able to use. If it's not anything that you need, it's not going to drop it down because there's no point. It condenses the amount of noise to be very elegant, very streamlined, very quick. You have access to all of the things, but only when you really, really need them.
Right. So now that I've got the blueprint over here, we can actually show off some of the debugging stuff. So when I go in, I go up to the light. You can see over on the right side of the screen, when I hit the volume, the wires light up. So it's telling me I'm hitting that volume, input is now enabled. And if I hit F, am I in the volume? Let's see. See, that's what's awesome is we know we did something wrong. I'm not sure what yet, but let's take a look.
Fix the things, Jeremy.
I'm working on it. Enable input, disable. Oh, you know why? It's because we don't have access to our player controller. We have no idea who we're trying to enable input on. So I can just drag off a player controller. I'll just type in controller, and I can say get player controller. So whoever is playing, and again, I can just plug that in down here as well. And that should do it. So let's go back and bring it over to our right side of the screen. And play back in editor. I'll zoom out here in the blueprint so we can see. I'm hitting the wire.
There you go.
And I hit F. I'm turning it on and off. So that seems to be working. And yeah, we've got our light switch working. So this is literally probably one of the most simple examples of what Blueprint can do.
But even with this, like the things that you can unlock, like how you were showing the color attribute, like you can do that with pretty much any aspect of what you're putting in there. So like if it's your trigger volume and you want to be able to go in and manipulate it like per instance, all of that stuff that you can go in and do. So you can put.
Yeah, you can expose its transforms, all that stuff, its scale. Even you could expose like which static mesh. So as I drag a blueprint in, I can actually switch out the static mesh per instance, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, this is literally probably one of the most simple examples that we can show. But
before you close out, like one of the things that I really like is the left shift select with C to frame everything.
Oh, right.
So if you're looking over in the graph, like once you build a component of your blueprint, a lot of people really want to be able to, you can have a whole bunch of stuff in here. And so what Jeremy's doing, where'd he go? I want to see the thing.
The mouse.
There we go. So he did a marquee selection and then he hit C and
now we can do a comment.
Exactly.
And we can say turn on and off lights with F key when in volume. So what's awesome is, now that we have this blueprint made, we can just keep dragging this in, and any instance that we drag in is going to have this functionality. It will have the light switch functionality. So if you were doing a big level, this would be awesome.
And this isn't just a level specific. This is now an asset, like any other asset, that can be in any level, it can be in any project, it can be in you can take it and use it however, wherever, whenever you want. And
now let's go
for a lot of complex stuff, like when you start getting into some really, really, really complex stuff, you do a lot of, for lack of a better term, heavy lifting up front, and there's so much reuse, there's so much like paying it forward of the reuse that you get out of these new assets that you have.
I just went ahead and turned on physics on these objects so I can blow them up. Because our first person template comes with the ability to already shoot projectiles, I can just turn physics on and actually just do that, which is pretty awesome. All right, let's take a look at, I actually want to take a look at a game that one of our artists made in a day called Tappy Chicken. It's pretty awesome. It's done entirely in Blueprint. And yeah, I mean, it took him like under 8 hours to do. He did all the art, everything himself.
And all of this, all of the gameplay, all of the everything, as far as gameplay was done with blueprints. Like there was no code. He didn't write a line of code.
Yeah, it was just a one-man project. So we can open up Tappy Chicken here, and here's the blueprint for the entire game.
And so you can open up, like what Jeremy's doing right now is he's opening up the actual, it's the level blueprint. It is.
Yeah, this is the entire game right here.
And so what we were talking about before with the marquee selection so that you can go through and really, it gives you a really elegant way of keeping track of what all of the pieces are. So somebody coming in behind you that needs to make any kind of adjustments or just try to do any kind of troubleshooting, any of that stuff, you can very easily navigate your way through all of the different pieces if you spend that extra second to just mark all of your things down.
Yeah, and when this comes with the subscription, so you can go in and actually dissect what he's been doing. And with the debugging, the visual debugging, you can actually see when you're playing the game what pieces are being triggered. If we take a look at the components, you actually get the entire level. So in his components, he's put in every single aspect of this game just right here. We've got our camera, we've got the entire scene, and we've got our Tappy Chicken back there.
Hey, Tappy.
So let's go ahead and just play it so we can check it out.
So once again, it's play and editor.
Yeah,
so.
play and editor. This is the game as it would be, but it's in editor real time, and this is done entirely with Blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty awesome, including all the UI stuff, like all of the mouse clicking stuff that I'm doing here. I really suck at this game.
I swear to God, I want a version of this where we've got Mark Rain's head. I want Mark's head on the chicken,
Yeah.
and that's what we're just bouncing through the posts.
So he's got time of day stuff, and like he just did this in no time. Oh God!
You really suck at this.
I am. You want to go?
Uh-oh, here we go. You ready? All I need is this. Let's see.
Oh yeah.
It's real. It's unreal. Here we go. You know, we just shot up like 17,000 people. Just done.
Yep.
I hate you, chicken.
Good high score. All right. But
Thank
if
you.
we actually open up the blueprint, what we can do is let's go ahead and put this on the right side. Come on, mouse, where'd you go?
There it is.
We'll put you on the left side. And then we can actually, let's go to a part like the flap. So this is he's animating the upward movement of the chicken when you tap.
That's pretty descriptive.
So what we can do, oh God, mouse.
Mouse, why you hate me so?
And you can see here on the right, the blueprint wires that are lighting up. That's telling us what's being triggered at that moment. So as you watch, you can just see all of the little red wires light up. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, as far as a debugging tool, this thing is absolutely phenomenal.
Holy crap, look at that. Oh God. I was so proud of myself for 1 second.
I thought you had it.
Yeah.
I thought you had it.
Yeah, it's really, really impressive. And again, this is just a one-man effort in a day. I don't even know what happened. I think it's the mouse fault. It's the mouse.
Yeah, that's what we're blaming it on.
Yeah. Let's
that's
go
a
ahead and
story
take a
we're
look at
sticking
some
to.
really cool stuff, though. The shooter game example that comes with your Unreal Engine 4 subscription is pretty sweet. We can go to Open Project. We can go to Shooter Game. This is a really cool game because it's kind of Unreal-esque,
Yeah.
Unreal Tournament-esque, and it's really pretty. And all the assets in here are for you to use as well, so it's pretty awesome.
It's cray-cray, as the kids would say.
Yes.
My daughter is going to just beat the crap out of me when I get home for saying that. She's like, really, Dad?
All right. So that looks pretty sweet. Let's go ahead and play. And again, this has all of the controls, your sprint, your jump, your shoot, your down sights. So you can go in here and actually just replace assets that you'd like to get your game started. We have health pickups, and I believe the majority of this was also done in Blueprint.
Yeah.
All the character stuff was, for sure.
So one of the great things is, like, at Epic, we've been talking about getting, every place that lasts in this industry evolves, and that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Tim talked about was, Epic was an indie studio. It was Tim, mailing out CDs and like sharing games with people all over the place. And one of the great things about UE4 is the fact that our guys have created a tool set that is going to let that kid at home in his garage do
I mean, honestly, I want to go home
absolutely
and make
amazing
games
stuff.
now.
Yeah. And it's for that kid, but it's also for the team. It's like the 5 guys who have an amazing idea that are ridiculously talented, and now they are going to have the tool set that is going to let them do. They're not going to be hindered, right?
No.
Like, they're not going to be hindered by the engine. The only thing they're going to be hindered by is their imagination and just the amount of time they're able to spend making all of the awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some really, really cool stuff that ships with your subscription, and we're going to be adding more, I think, every month. In fact, if you go to the marketplace now, you can see some of the preview stuff that's coming up in the next, like down here under preview. We've got our Blueprint Office, realistic rendering, our Elemental demo we're shipping out. It's pretty awesome. One of the really cool things that we have are the content examples. This is basically like if you want to learn how to do everything, you can open up the content examples and you can look at animation, cloth, physics, materials, lighting, blueprints. They have basically everything is in there in a map for you to look around at. So it says go ahead and hit File, Open Level. Well, you're an animator, let's talk about animation. So open up the animation map.
Sweet. And there's Owen.
So what we have here is it's just saying using animation asset. What does that mean?
So like when you create your animation, what you're creating is if you are exporting out of Motion Builder or out of Maya, which is what we're using on Fortnite, you're exporting an FBX, and then you take that FBX and you import it into Unreal as an animation asset. And this is literally just playing the animation from that asset. This is straight up what was imported, played like you see on the screen.
All right, cool. What we got here? Animation blueprints. What are animation blueprints?
Animation blueprints. So our characters, like we're talking about the power of blueprints, and with our animation blueprint, everything for that character can live within that blueprint. All of the events. We're talking about your animation montages. We are talking about your blend spaces.
For your state machines too.
All of your state machines. All of the things, all of the components that go into making your character a character live within your animation blueprint.
This is kind of a cool one. Looks like we can change the speed by left-clicking and dragging on this. Oh, mouse.
I hate you so much, mouse.
So we can speed him up. We can change his direction.
And the great thing about this is like all of this is driven in the blend space. In the blend space in the editor, you can go in and drop, if you're doing like if you're doing a 4-way or an 8-way with your idle, you can go in and set up all of the parameters
An
for
8-way?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. 8-way, north, south, east, west, northeast, northwest, southeast, and southwest. All of the things. But you can set up all of that in your blend space, and then exactly like what Jeremy was doing before, all of your input parameters, like, you can set your speed, what he's going to when he is at no forward translation, what he's going to at the max player speed that you guys that you've defined with design. Like all of that stuff can be driven in the blueprint in your blend space.
Yeah, this is pretty awesome. And then we have aim offsets here. So as you can see, he's holding his gun.
And that's really just, like, that is just...
That's like a few, like 8 poses?
Yeah, this is like a series of poses that are blended on top, and that will play over top of your animation. So, as you're running through and aiming, you can drive all of that inside of your aim offset.
All right, montage. What is an animation montage?
So what we'll do is, like with the animation montage, is you'll take your animation asset, you bring it into your montage, and then the montage lets you add all kinds of events. So in the montage, like if you want footstep sounds, you can trigger when the footstep sounds happen on the footfall. You can go in and incorporate your particle effects. You can go in and incorporate sounds.
You can branch too, can't you? Like events?
Yeah, you can branch your events, all kinds of stuff. And so montages are primarily what we end up using. Like we'll bring an animation asset in, and then we'll automatically go ahead and create a montage for it so that we have access to all of the things that might be associated with that particular animation asset.
Now, one of the really cool features that we haven't gone into too much detail is that you can actually create animation curves in Unreal now. You can do it in the blueprint by creating a timeline, or you can just create a curve in an animation itself and have it drive whatever it is you want it to drive. In this case, they're driving a morph target. We could have it drive a material parameter. We have bone scaling, non-uniform bone scaling now too.
God.
Yeah, so
I'm so excited about that.
Dude,
that's all the
squash
things
and
right
stretch
there.
now, yeah. That was huge for Fortnite.
Like,
IK is awesome. So here we have no IK on this character. He's clipping through the floor. Here he's nicely hitting all the steps. And this one's my favorite. As he's punching and the wall comes down, he actually hits the wall. It's pretty slick.
Oh yeah, it's stupid, cool, awesome.
One of the things we don't actually show in this map that's kind of new for us is the retargeting though. And IK is a big part of that, but we on Fortnite, we have these different body types.
Yeah, we have a ton of different body types, and the great thing about it is, I've got a lot of experience with living projects, and there is a lot of upfront cost of building a really solid base of foundation that you want to use across all of the things. And so when you release an update, what you're releasing, you want to be value. You want the community, you want the player. You don't want to be spending your time just keeping your visuals at parity. You don't want to spend a chunk of every update just making sure you've got another run, making sure you've got you want to make sure, like, if they get a new emote, a new taunt, a new weapon that has a badass fire, reload, all of the things that go along with it, that's what you want to be able to spend your time on. And so one of the great things with like Lena Laurent and all of the awesome engine people is they've done the retargeting system, and so you'll have, like, we have a series of skeletons, and we animate predominantly on one body type, and he's, we'll call him our skinny guy. But we have a medium-sized guy and we have our large guy. And our large guy, he's a big burly guy.
He's very big, yeah.
And so what they do inside of the retargeting is each one of those skeletons has a delta based off of the difference between it and the base skeleton. And any animation that we do on the skinny guy, we are able to bring through, and it plays wonderfully well on our big body type. And so a lot of what it will follow is it'll follow the IK hands and feet.
IK is pretty important in the retargeting
system. So kind of going back to the animation curves that you were talking about, like one of the things that we have is, so we'll have a reload on a pistol. And with everything following the IK, when our big guy would go to do the reload, he'll reach in, and the IK is staying true, so he'll end up reaching inside of his, his belly to get the clip. And the great thing about the curves is, instead of having to go through and do a custom animation with that, it was all of 2 seconds to go in and switch from IK on the left hand to FK, and with the FK, it is following the true animation. So it comes over, we set that IK to 0, he reaches over, grabs the clip, and then on the way back, we blend back into the IK, and all of a sudden, it looks like the animation was specifically created for him. So and the great thing about it is it goes, like, we can animate on the skinny guy and have it work, but we can animate custom content on the big guy, and it will work the other way as well.
Right, yeah. Let's take a look at root motion. I'm going to restart so we can go down here.
So,
so what's root motion and why is that a big deal?
Oh, root motion is awesome. So what root motion is...
So that guy has no root motion on the red guy. Okay.
So if you look on the left, when he ran over, his player capsule actually stayed over on the side. And that is bad. Like that's just, like, especially if you're doing like a multiplayer or something like that. Like, with that player capsule over there, your hit detection's gone. Like you don't get any.
And not only that, but I mean, if there was geometry there, he just would have walked through it.
He's just going to walk through all of the stuff. Like there's no collision at that point. If you go over and do the guy in the green, you'll notice his player capsule comes with him. He collides with the geometry, and for a lot of the things that you get with like multiplayer games or even any other stuff, like you're not going to feel, the player's not going to feel cheated because for some reason they missed somebody that for all intents and purposes they should have hit. But
and it also means that the animation of the character, the forward momentum or the momentum of the character is
often
animation controlled and not programmatic controlled.
So you're not going to see any sliding. You're not going to see, like, where you're trying to compensate with what the animator created. If it's not root motion, if it's driven by the engine, you'll see sliding. You're never going to get that one-to-one. There's just something, kind of nerd talking as an animator for a bit. There's something that's just awesome about that when you're able to ground the character, when you don't have any of those little things that pull you out for the moment. Like, all of the things that can be covered with this is like any kind of root motion attack where you want to have that just that
Yeah,
dynamic
once we got that
sense
in
to it.
Fortnite, it
Dude.
drastically changed the feel of the game.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And so you can do like very one-to-one, like very literal, like mantles, you know, any kind of thing where you're physically interacting with the world around you. It is just solid. It feels good. You get that connection, and it's just another one of those things that since we implemented it in Fortnite for a lot of our custom right-click stuff, the general consensus from everybody playing was it was an immediate, like immediately improved player interaction.
Cool. Well, what's cool about these example maps is, of course, we can go in, we can talk about this stuff, but as a user trying to learn it, you can actually just click on any one of these guys and find his blueprint.
Oh, and while Jeremy is fighting with the Mouse of Doom, just to remind you guys, feel free to ask questions. We are going to be doing a Q&A. We're going to be trying to answer everything we can, and if we can't answer it, we'll let you know, and we will make sure that we find a way to get that information to you. Also, we're going to be giving away swag. I have absolutely no idea what the swag is, you know? Could be, I have no idea.
Shit just got Unreal bracelet.
It could be.
That's a pretty good one.
Wow. You use that language at home?
I do, actually, yeah. Sorry.
Dude.
Hey, Word gave this to me.
I know, right? But yeah, we're going to be giving away swag. We're going to be answering questions. So if you've got a question, send it to us, and we can't wait to answer all of those. Like I said, if we can't answer it, we will find all of the ways to get the information to you.
Yeah, what we're really hoping to do is build a very awesome, tight-knit community, which with our launcher, it has access to all the community channels, and we would definitely want to build up a strong community with everybody.
Oh yeah. Like it's devs, right? Like at this point, it's like it's community, but everybody that gets their hands on this has the ability to be, you know, they're one-man band. They're a dev. They are creating, and with that community, we share. You know, we share the brain trust. We talk. We figure out what's right. We figure out what's wrong. One of the great things is, almost everywhere I've been, external wiki, what the community creates is almost always better than internal documentation. So anytime that we find that stuff outside, we're going to promote it. We're going to get it in front of as many eyes as possible, because you guys create like an amazing amount of, you guys find the problems we might not necessarily see, or you find a workflow that we didn't necessarily think about. And when we see somebody that's nailed that, we want all the people to be able to get their eyes on it and learn from it too.
I was going to show one of the animation blueprints. So let's take a look at, now again, this looks very similar to the level blueprints we were doing earlier, but there's an extra tab here called Anim Graph. What we're looking at here, we've got his state machines, and we can track everything that's happening. So here's his 2-bone IK, it's controlling his left hand, his head, and then we get our final result on the right. So we can actually track and see what's happening. And just like with simulating the game and seeing the blueprint debug, you can do the same thing here. So as you're moving directions, you'll see the wires change colors.
Yep. So like if you actually went down over into the default, if you did change the direction, I think you'll actually start seeing it fire when he's
Right, yeah. So if I go over, we have these little, any of the variables that we've exposed, like direction, and I can say speed, is he moving? Oh, you know what, this is the,
is that
the bone scaling one.
Oh,
yeah.
there we go.
Okay, animation blueprint, simple animation. Let's take a look at this one. Where is the, what was that called? Aim offset was a good one. Yeah, this one's a good one. Yeah. So as we're changing directions here, you can see real time what's kind of going on. And of course, these values are just for testing. They're not going to stick around.
Yeah, they don't. Those are just for you to be able to see. Like none of that. Like it's not like he has to save those out at a 0 or clean anything up. Like that's just for testing purposes.
Yeah, and again, if you do get a subscription, definitely check out the example content maps, because we have a ton of stuff in here. We've got cloth, we've got materials, basically everything that you would need to be able to do on a game we have in here. We have matinee examples. Matinees are a cinematic tool.
Yeah.
for
Oh my
creating-
God,
yeah.
the matinee example that's in there, play that sucker
Oh
real time.
yeah,
It
all
is
right.
gorgeous.
Let's see if we can just do that
Are we
real
gonna
quick.
have, I don't know if we'll have time to actually
We are
go through. We're
going
going to
to
be wrapping
do
it up
it.
pretty soon. But
Matinee.
but open, like if you guys subscribe,
It's gorgeous.
open up all the things. It is absolutely beautiful, and it's running real time. Like it's not pre-rendered. So okay, guys. Like I said, send your questions. We're going to do swag. We're going to take about a 15-minute break, and when we come back, we're going to be answering your questions.
Yeah,
as
we'll
best
show
we
the
can.
matinee demo.
And yeah, we'll show the matinee
enough.
demo and all of the good things. So it's been awesome letting you guys get a look at all of the coolness that we've been doing, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah.